Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. My name is Martina and this is the Secret Craft Room. Last year I made some Alice in Wonderland themed projects instead of Easter decorations and I loved them so much, so I decided to make some more this year, starting with the Dragonfly. Please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you like my content. And without further ado, let's get into the video. The Dragonfly only appears for a few seconds in the first live-action movie just when Alice arrives in Wonderland. It is also mentioned in the book Alice Through the Looking Glass, where it's called a snap dragonfly. I wanted mine to sort of match the rocking horse flies I made last year and look a little bit like an old wooden toy. I made a template for it in Photoshop and there is a link in the description for it. I cut out all the pieces from semi-thin cardboard. I am using an old ice cream box, which is a tiny bit thicker than a cereal box but not as thick as a moving box. I also cut out a bunch of tiny pieces of cardboard to use as spacer pieces. Next I glued everything together. I used 2 layers of the small pieces in between the body pieces and 1 piece in between the head pieces. When gluing the 2 sides together, I added 1 layer of the small pieces where the body part is and not anything where the head and the tip of the tail is. I also glued the tip of the tail pieces together to shape it a little bit. I wanted something more lightweight than the air dry clay I normally use, but something finer than the papier-mâché clay I make myself. So I mixed equal parts of PVA glue and water and then I added toilet paper to it, 1 square at a time, and mixed it until the paper had dissolved before adding another one. Then I kept adding paper until I was happy with the thickness. Then I added spackle. I added about as much spackle as the mixture of water, glue and paper. Then I added a layer of this to the dragon. This will shrink quite a bit once dried, so I will add another layer after this. While it dried, I started working on the wings. I used a 1mm aluminum wire and shaped the wing parts according to the template. Then I attached this sparkly tulle fabric using green metallic embroidery floss. For the first round I used 1 strand of the floss. This round is just for securing the fabric to the wire. Then I carefully cut off the excess fabric. For the second round I used 3 strands of the floss. This round is for making the edges neat. Then I mixed Mod Podge with green and gold glitter and added it to the wings. Then I sprinkled more glitter on top. I chose to add it only to the back part of the wings, but of course you can add as much glitter as you want. Then I added a second coat of the toilet paper clay. I tried to shape it as good as possible with this layer. Once completely dry, I sanded it down using my Dremel tool. Next I made holes for his legs. I used 3mm aluminum wire for the base of the legs. Then I added aluminum foil to build up the shape and thickness of the legs. Then I added a thin layer of air dry clay on top. The air dry clay is easier to work with for smaller details. A tip is to use PVA glue to help the clay stick to the surface, and I also use a lot of water to smooth it out. Once completely dry, I sanded the legs. Next, I twisted the wings together and made holes for them. Then I painted the dragon. I had no idea how I wanted it to look like at this point, so I kept adding layers of paint until I was happy with how it looked. At this point I decided that it looked too clean, so I added a dark brown wash to the whole piece. And then I dry brushed it with the light green and yellow again. Then I added all the details to his face. Next I used Mod Podge to add a little bit of iridescent glitter to his eyes to make them sparkle. Then I covered the whole piece with matte Mod Podge except for the eyes, which I covered with glossy Mod Podge. I made a little hole and a loop for hanging, which I glued in place using super glue. Then I glued the wings in place using super glue as well. I added fishing line to hang the dragon, but I realized that I put the hanging loop too far to the front of the dragon, so it was unbalanced. So I added another one further to the back. Please don't forget to subscribe and give my video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you watched this far, please let me know which character from Alice in Wonderland is your favorite in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.